There you go. Press
I
the button.
ran 10,000 moves, and this is my arm. Dad's holding it because it didn't show well on the camera. So I ran 10,000 laps. I'm really proud.
Yeah, you did awesome. All right. Hey, what's going on, everybody? All right, here we are, new week. As far as triathlon training goes, today is as it has been for the last almost 2 months. It's been 2 months now that I started this new training cycle for my race that has been canceled, but I'm still doing my own version of a race on my own. No competitors. So it kind of sucks because I don't think I'm gonna be pushed as hard as I could go. So I think my time won't be amazing for me, but I'm gonna push myself as hard as I can go. I just don't have that competitive kind of edge other than against myself, which, it is. It's a self-competitive edge. That's what drives me to go and do the triathlon, but that's what, the whole competitiveness of triathlon is what really pushes you to the next level, especially if it's a close race. So no swimming today, but that's gonna turn into just a 20-minute, kind of just relaxed, easy paced run/walk. The kids and I are gonna go out after I'm done with this vlog, and we're just gonna go and hit the little trail by the house for about 20 to 30 minutes, and then I'll add in the swim stretch cords and shoulder exercises as well. This week we are going to be talking about step 3, which is I made a decision to turn my will and my life over to the power of God as I understood him. Now, for me and for probably a lot of people out there, this is a hard step to kind of get through, and in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous does say that this step might take a long time. Like, it's hard to digest, especially because we act as addicts out of ego or self. We're very self driven and think we're in control of everything, and so to relinquish that control is extremely difficult, especially to relinquish it to God. And by the time I got sober, I was 30 years old. I had lived with my mother and my father, my father was raised Catholic, my mother was raised Methodist. My mother did not practice religion or really faith of any kind my whole life. And my father, who was brought up Catholic, still practiced Catholicism, but kind of on his terms, like if it was football season, chances of seeing my dad in a church were pretty slim. It's not to say that he doesn't have that belief system, but that's just kind of the inputs that I was getting in my life. And so there's definitely this piece of me, my mom was like, oh, you just can figure it out on your own, which was like, great, I have no guidance. And then the guidance that I was getting when I was living with my father was kind of like, it works when you want it to work for you. So it wasn't like this, we weren't living our lives through these like biblical religious principles, So I would say at best, I wasn't an atheist because I just had a feeling that there was something out there, like, there's so many different religions and da-da-da. And that was another thing, was just, how could there be so many different religions? If there's one God, then how is there all these other kind of practices? Why don't we all just believe the same thing? So that kind of put me into sorry, I feel like I got a cat hair in my eye. That put me in this kind of not an atheist because I had this feeling, and then, so that made me more of like an agnostic. Like, there's just not enough proof. I don't know, and nobody can explain it to me exactly, so it just left me in this kind of limbo, which is agnosticism, if that's kind of where I'm at with that. And so having to be able to make this decision, this final decision to just turn my life over to something that I didn't know whether or not it existed was really difficult. And I still struggle with that. I still struggle with how can there just be this one thing that controls everything? Like I can't explain, I can't even explain like physics in space. We still don't know exactly how the universe was created, right? There's still not an answer. We think there's some pretty hard evidence that, there's this Big Bang theory, but then not enough, which leaves room for other people to think like, hey, it was this almighty one God. So it really, it got helpful for me in step 3, as we understood him. That became helpful over a little bit of time, but I still needed to have some kind of understanding of what this was. And so I needed to be there and to develop. And that belief, that developing belief, is still developing. Like I'm still really realizing how my God, my higher power, works in my life on the constant basis. It left me when I was trying to get sober. I started thinking like religions like Hinduism or even like Greek mythology, or what's the like kind of what the Norse believe, and like Thor and all that, like having all these different deities. It almost made it, when I started thinking like, oh, well, maybe there's like an addiction deity. And that's what I had to like, okay, so there's this one God that can help me with addiction. So let's tackle that. And that was a big just step for me to make this huge unexplainable thing just kind of shrink down and make it, okay, this is easy. I can kind of focus on this one piece. And as time has gone on, my belief in that power has immensely evolved. Because I'm able to apply concepts and take the time to see how my higher power is working in my life. So what a higher power means to me, or this God, or a power greater than myself, is that it's a God for me. Like I need to go and draw power from this, because it was obvious when I got into AA, I wasn't drawing enough power from all the self-will that I had, wasn't doing it. And then I put a little bit of just trust and faith into this one system, this one God, this one group of people. I put some belief in the faith, and next thing you know, I had gone days and then weeks and then months and then years, and now it's like I'm almost going into 2 decades, and I still don't completely understand it. I couldn't tell you today what your God does for you and how, but what I do know is when I believe in that, it gives me a lot of strength. So I'm able to kind of tap into that when I need to. And that's where, the deity thing is like, I just feel like there's areas in life that I really want to try to control. I still have free will to make decisions in my life. That's what makes me a human. I'm pretty sure it says something, that's the whole Adam and Eve thing, right? Like, hey, you got free will. Whoops, stupid man, stupid woman made the wrong choice with their own free will, and they screwed it all up, right? So I screwed it up. My own free will when it came to drinking screwed up, man. I couldn't do it. And so for me, that privilege has been, I've had to give it up. It wasn't even taken away, because I could still have it. I could still do it. But I choose not to today. And that's because I've put so much faith into that God, to my addiction God. I don't know if that's helpful for you or for anybody out there that might struggle with the wording of that step, but I hope it does. I hope that kind of is helpful in some sort of a way. We're about at 10 minutes, man. I don't know. I've gone from like the 6-minute vlogger to the 10-minute vlogger, but I hope it's all gelling and feeding you guys a little bit of knowledge. from my experiences, sharing that with you. Thanks for being here, guys. I really appreciate it. If you haven't, subscribe down below, give me some likes, and leave some comments. Let me know what you guys are thinking about step 3 and how to move forward with it. With the kids, we're gonna go get this run. Until tomorrow, peace.